I gotta have the stand because I like that. You would hear me. I talk. I don't know. My name is Linda Gorsuch, and I will talk as slowly and complete sentences as I can. I have a tendency to take two subjects and forget the predicate. That way I don't waste any time. Why waste time? Or, at my age, if you don't say it right away, you're going to forget it in 2 seconds. So, I will go as slowly as I can. I'm a daughter. I'm a wife. I'm going to need this. This is when a hanky just does it, or a Kleenex just doesn't cut it. I'm a daughter, a wife, a mother, and a grandma. I can get through this because I have a lot of pages. I lost my mom a year ago to dementia. It's not anything to go through. But I went to see my mom a lot. And I remember one day we were sitting there and a new patient came in. And she was just as confused as what Mom was. And she came and said, where am I? And we said, well, you're in Albion. And she said, well, should I be here? My mom goes, yeah, this is a nice place. And so she sat there, and I could see her. She would just look at me, and then she'd look at my mom. And then she'd look at me, and she'd look at my mom. She did that for a long time. And finally, she just stopped, and she said, you guys don't make any sense. I'm leaving. And now she had dementia also. So Mom and I, we never made sense when we talked. But it just didn't matter. I loved my mom. Sorry. I loved her. One day, I went to see her, and I said, come up to hold my hand. I said, Mom, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. I've got a doctor's appointment. And, she was looking at the wall, just staring, and, not really saying anything. And when I said, Mom, I have a doctor's appointment, I won't be here tomorrow. Just like that, man, she went into mama mode. She turned her head, she looked at me, and she said, are you all right? I was fine. It was just a wellness check. And I said, I'm going to be okay, Mom. And she goes, just out of that, she went back to, she just went right back to being where she was, a happy place. But just in that moment, motherhood, it goes so deep. She might have had dementia, but she knew who I was. And she loved me, and I knew it. But I honored Mom, and that's what I'm saying. Honor your mothers. Love your moms no matter what. Love your mothers. Yeah. Okay, we got through that one. Did good? Yeah, okay. Good. I am a mother. We've got 3 children. Randy helped on that part. Where is he? He said, you're not going to embarrass me, are you? And I said, I prayed the Holy Spirit to talk through me, so we'll see what he says, Randy. Just hold on. We have 3 kids. Awesome kids. God has blessed us with awesome kids. And you know what? One of them's here today. Sorry, Wes. I love you. Today's his birthday. What a wonderful Mother's Day gift. What a wonderful Mother's Day gift. I love them. When they were young and growing up, oh, my word. I remember, it was just like yesterday. I'd get them up, we'd get ready for school. Like, did you brush your teeth? Did you get your backpack ready? Do you have your lunch money? Do you have your, clothes on? Did you brush your teeth? Put them in that old minivan, you head out the door, you drop them off. I was working in an office at that time in Ligonier, so I dropped one off the elementary, the middle school, the high school. Then I went to work for 8 hours. And then at the end of the day, I remember I had a volleyball game to go to. So you're rushing. And you get there and you get out in your minivan and you're heading towards that volleyball game. Well, I was going through Topeka and I was driving faster than a buggy. I got stopped. Oh, I love you policemen out there. I know you're out there. But I love you and thank you for everything you do. And Jason Shearer, is he here? Jason? Thank you, Jason. He's our hometown hero. Woohoo! Words of advice to you policemen, though. When you pull over a little mother that's frantic in a minivan, don't use extra words. Like, do you have any points against your license? No, sir, I don't. Well, you do now. All he would have had to say is, you're going a little too fast. Okay, I know I was. But, and P.S., I missed the volleyball game. But it's okay. I go, I pick up Christy, we head home, and then the fun starts yet. You have the dishes to do, you have the laundry to start, you've got book bags to pack, you got permission slips to pack, and baths, get the shower, get your everything around for the next day. You get them to bed, and you look at them and think, they're just so cute when they're sleeping. So cute. They're just so cute. And then you go downstairs, and I used to just sit on the sofa, and she had a bag of chocolate sitting right beside me. And I would just sit there and stare at the wall. Randy would say, why don't you go to bed if you're tired? I don't want to go to bed. I just want to sit here. Eat my chocolate. Just let me eat my chocolate. Just let me eat it. So, but you know what? That is when the enemy sneaks in. That's when the enemy sneaks in. You're sitting here going, I'm nothing but a snot wiping taxi driver scullery maid. That's what he thinks. But you're not. You just tell Satan to get back, step over, because you are a true child of the King. You are, how we say our children are fearfully and wonderfully made? So are you guys. You guys are also. Just get that thought behind you, because God has entrusted you with these children to raise. And that's the time when you're thinking, I got to start this all over again tomorrow. No, you get to start it all over tomorrow. You thank God for that chance that you have these kids to raise and to love and to nurture and to bring up the way He wants you to bring them up. That's what you do. And if you're too tired to get on your knees, just sit. He knows your heart. Pray. God gives us grace and more grace over and over and over again. That's all I can say as far as children. I couldn't have done it without the Lord. There was times I would just sit, just pray, Lord, help me get through this day. And my heart goes out for the mothers that have lost a child. There's a piece of that missing right here. I can't even imagine how that is. If you would just pray with me, I'd like to pray for any of those mothers out there. Father God, we just come to you and I pray and lift these mamas up. That piece is broken. I pray for healing, Lord. I pray that every morning when they get up, they can feel the love that you have for them. Surround them and help them to get up, to put one foot in front of the other, Lord. Give them the strength that they need to go on. And when they feel like they can't go, Lord, let them feel your arms around them to carry them. Thank you, Father, for your love and grace. In the precious name of Jesus, amen. Amen. Okay. Randy said I can't make it too long and boring, so I guess I'll go on here. I'm afraid I'm going to get something, but grandchildren, oh my word. Get them cheek. Oh, isn't that awesome? Grandkids are, they are the icing on my cake, the topping on my ice cream, the chocolate on my caramel. Yes, Claire and Minnie, where are you guys? You still out there? Ooh. And I could just kiss them. They are the sweetness to my life. And let me talk about my animals before I get into that. I do have animals. I love critters. I came home with a dog with ADD that was a stray. I came home with a cat that looks like a cougar that's very laid back. I came home with a rabbit that was going to be turned loose, and I knew it would die, so I got it. And my latest addition is a little pygmy fainting goat. Oh, she's just so cute, too. If you've never seen a pygmy fainting goat, when they get scared, they get stiff, and then their hair goes up like a mohawk in the back, and then they just fall over. And Randy goes, why do you do this to yourself? Why do you make more work? And I'm like, I'll tell you why. Last week, I have my little grandbabies there. They were chasing my little goat all around. That poor little thing, they were just squealing and laughing. I had to go rescue the goat. It's okay. I put her away because she was... So we go put Fanchon. Is Rusty here? Rusty. Is Rusty? Fanchon is after your aunt. I love your aunt. Yeah. She's cute. She's sweet. My goat's awesome. They were chasing that goat around, and it was just the sweetest thing. It just... And then put the goat away, went back in, and Wes and Chelsea were having coffee, and Chelsea looked out the window. Chelsea is my daughter-in-law. awesome. And she goes, uh-oh. And I go, what? Well, we have 2 fish, too. And by the way, Randy does not like animals. He thought he didn't, but he really does. Don't you? He really does. And we were looking out there, and they went to the barn, and they got this granite tub, and they went over. We have 2 fish, and Randy got those. I didn't get those. And the water was really murky. We don't have a beautiful fish tank in Wawaka. We just throw them in a mineral tub. And the water was very murky at that time, and my little girls dipped all that murky water out and put it in this tub, and they thought the bunny needed a bath. Bunnies don't like baths. Do they, Amelia? She came out to go, Grandma scratched me. And I looked at it and I said, oh, you'll be fine, but I don't know about the bunny. But you know what? That bunny's hair was soft as silk. But that's why I have animals. I love to see my grandkids squeal with delight, come and pet. We have a petting zoo, and if anybody wants to come out, come on out. Grandkids are the second chance God has given us. If we messed up with our kids, I wasn't a perfect mother. I never won any award. But I loved my kids. No award, but I did love them. I did the best that God gave me the ability to do with them. But we get a second chance with grandkids. Grandparents out there, love them, invest in them. Your kids need a break once in a while, so just love on those grandkids. And you know what? Grandkids, I said, Randy, I know it's in there. It's in Proverbs. Grandchildren are a crown to the aged. And they are. They are. And when I said about honoring our mothers, it's just not a suggestion. It is a commandment. And sometimes I know maybe it is hard to love a mother that might be not lovable, but she's your mom. Love her and pray for her. Okay. I have a friend here, Joanne. Joanne Kripe. I've asked her if she would come up and talk.
Good morning, Stones Hill. Thank you, Linda. Isn't this little girl sitting beside me cute? She helped calm my nerves backstage. She says, Joanne, we can do this. So, any of you that follow me on Facebook knows who this little gal is. Whoever's a close friend of mine knows who this little gal is. And the next time you pray for her, you can put a face to her name. I refer to her on Facebook as my little friend. And the reason for that is because I cannot put her name on Facebook due to HIPAA. I am totally blessed and have the opportunity to be with this little girl 3 days a week. I am not a mother, but I have wonderful kids and children in my lives, and this one and her siblings are part of that. I have wonderful nephews and nieces who I helped raise. I have great nephews and nieces that I've helped nurture, and it's so important in this day and age to let the kids know that they are loved, they are cared for, they're important, and teach them the important values of life. This little girl here, her name is
Anna.
What's your last name, honey?
Yutzy.
Her name is Anna Yutzy. And how old are you?
9.
What school do you go to?
Orchard View.
And what grade are we in this year?
2nd.
2nd grade, and when I say we, that is we, her and I. We are in 2nd grade. I go with her. So I'm trying to learn all over again. I just wish they'd say 1 + 1 or 2 + 2 is, 2 and 4. But, then you get into the tens columns and the ones columns, and it's like, they didn't teach it this way when I was in school. But anyhow, I'm learning right along with Anna. So, my nephews and nieces, great nephews and nieces, they always make me feel loved, and they always do some things for me on Mother's Day, and they let me know in many different ways that I am loved as a mother. And this little girl, I'm not her mom either, but I love her like she's my own. I've been with her for almost 8 years, and right now we'd like to introduce Mom and Dad and the siblings and Grandma and Grandpa, Mike and Alyssa Yutzy. And if you would stand along with the siblings Connor, Leah, and Nora. Some of you gentlemen here in the church might know Mike. He is a leader with Fight Club, and so many of you went to the ceremony last Sunday, and you might have seen the family there. And also Grandpa and Grandma Yutzy, Dave and Joe Yutzy. So give them a round of applause. I had a wonderful mother. Her name was Roberta Kripe. And I always thought if I could be the half of the person that she was through life, that I would be blessed. She was a beautiful person, had a loving heart, and she too nurtured children. And I saw something about something that Abraham Lincoln said. She was everything I've always wanted to be, the combination of strong and tough with sweetness that radiated. That's not what Abraham Lincoln said. That was somebody's Facebook message. You forgot to tell me the right one. That was...
Right.
What? Anna just says that's not right, Joanne. Okay. Abe Lincoln said, "All that I am or ever hope to be, I owe that to my angel mother." And I lost my mother 15 years ago, and she was a wonderful person, and her and I had a special bond. Anna here was born, they know who you are. She was born 9 years ago, and she spent the first 10 months of her life in Riley Children's Hospital. And she had complications and continues to fight battles, but she fights it like a princess. She's brave, she's courageous, and she, for the things that she has been through, she is the most loving, kindest little kid you'd ever want to meet. So,
Happy Mother's Day.
Tammy Golden is in the same boat that I am. She nurtures a lot of children. She's a school teacher at West Noble, and she's active in the youth here at church. And she's never had children, but she does a wonderful job. She loves the kids. I love the kids that I've, had encounter with. 42 years ago, is Pastor Deb still in here? Oh, yeah. I was able to coach little girls softball about 42 years ago, and Deb was on my team. She was the best shortstop you'd ever want to see as a little girl, and we were a family. And as I was telling Deb before the service, I hope that they learned something other than winning ball games, but we had a love amongst the girls and myself, and we had a great time. Also, then later in life, I coached JV basketball, girls basketball, and those girls too were very special, and we also were a family. So I've been blessed with a lot of good individuals in my life. So we're going to close this up here, and my little friend Anna is going to sing 2 short songs. So, do you want to stand? No? Okay. Jesus. Okay.
Jesus made the sun. Oh, for the Bible tells me it's little for him belong. They are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so.
job, honey. And the next one is dedicated to her mom and Grandma Joe and her other grandmas in life and all of you mothers on this Mother's Day.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Stand up and bow. Bow again. Thank you and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Anna. Would you like to pick out a couple numbers here for me? A phone call? Pick one out for me. Okay, what do we have here? Let's see. You've got your little tickets that you got when you came in, moms. You want to pull those out. The number that Anna has picked is 491416. Who is that? I can't see. I don't have my glasses on. Who is it? How about the joy of the Lord? These are two of our granddaughters. We have 8. So we are. And this is third. This is Amelia. Next number, 491416. Oh, sorry. Whoop. It's full. Where is it? Is this it?
No, that's mine.
That's yours. 491402. Oh, good. Remember this, Lisa. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Your mama makes these signs. Oh, thanks. It scared me. Pull another one out.
Pull another one out, honey.
Okay. 491457.
In the back. Get another one, honey. Get another one.
Hey, give me the microphone. Grace upon grace. And how we need that. Grace and more grace, huh? Okay, thank you, dear. Okay, ready. 491473. Who's that one? I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth.
Okay. Face the audience again, honey.
Okay.
There's just one other thing I forgot to mention about little Anna. She accepted the Lord about a year ago. And who do you love very much, Anna?
God,
She was baptized. When were you baptized, Anna?
June, Father's Day,
And who were you baptized with?
my daddy.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a blessed Mother's Day. Go home and be the best mom, best grandma you can be. And dads, too.
Well, happy Mother's Day to you this morning. And I hope you've had a good morning already, moms. We so appreciate your lives and your love. And appreciate those times when my mom, as busy as she was with 5 kids at home, and she often told us that one of the things that she looks back on and enjoyed the most in her life was when her kids were all at home. Even though she was very, very busy with all 5 of us, she says that was one of the highlights of my life, was just being able to live in that time when all my kids were there and to parent them. And she was busy, but she loved us. And I always try to remember that, because we're always we hasten to get to the next step in life, don't we? The next life stage. That's kind of how we roll sometimes. But it's just good to be in the stage that we're in. And so no matter what stage of parenting you're in, we just honor you today. We thank you for your love, and thank you for all the inconvenience of parenting and mothering. And thank you for being motherly, for, as we heard this morning and from our ladies, that some have not actually are not actually mothers, but they are motherly in so many ways, and they've touched us in so many ways, and I just really appreciate that. I want to talk to you this morning, and along the theme of Mother's Day. Some of you know I recently ran a race, and this was at Channel Lake State Park. It was crazy because it was an ultra race, or an ultra marathon. What's an ultra marathon? Well, an ultra marathon is anything over 26.2 miles. Anything over 26.2. So if you go run a 26.3 mile run, you have just completed your first ultra marathon. Isn't that awesome? So that's what it is. Anything over 26.2. And there at Channel Lakes, there was a 50-mile race, a 100K race, which is like 62 miles. There's a 100-mile race. All three of these races were going on simultaneous. And what's so incredibly difficult about something like this is that it's time on your feet. You're on your feet for hours. You don't complete these races quickly. They take time. And in many cases, they take hours to complete. And so you'll face all different types of weather conditions and trail conditions. You'll have to adjust your pace for hills. If the trail is muddy, that'll impact you. If it's off-camber stuff, really hard on your ankles and things. If you're on the side of a hill or something, that can be challenging. And so it's a very challenging thing. And so I've had some time to debrief and to think about this experience. And I continue to think about it because I don't want there to be a lesson on the table that I leave on the table and not learn something from it. And so as I was thinking about it this week, I thought maybe it would be good for me to talk to you about, just put slide number 3 up for me if you would. What 50 miles taught me about life, my mother already taught me. What 50 miles taught me about life, my mother already taught me. And there's a little bit of irony in that. Now, what she did not teach me was she didn't teach me how to do all the things I'm going to talk to you about this morning in the context of preparation for and the execution of a 50-mile race. My mom never really was a runner, but she never stopped moving. You ever have a mom like that? Not a runner, but she never stopped moving. Always on the move, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. But as I think about this, I think about, well, thank you, Mom. You've already, in seed form, you've already taught me a lot of things I needed to know. I just needed to apply it in this particular setting, and sure enough, it'll get you through. If you apply it in your life setting, it'll get you through too. These are things that maybe a mom needs to hear this morning. There are things that maybe you need to hear this morning as you're processing through and trying to figure out, you're up against some great ultra event in your life, and you're trying to figure out how I'm going to get through that. And so, why 50 miles? Well, some people ask me that, and I don't know that I have just one clear answer to that. There's a lot of things, a lot of reasons I think that go into it. I do like to compete, and it seemed like for so many years I was in a dugout or in the bleachers or on the sideline and cheering for our kids, and I loved that, and I wouldn't have traded that for anything. It's just the way life should go, you know. But then there's that time when you graduate your kids and they're out the door and you're in the empty nest phase of life, and so you have some time to think about things, and certainly I've done a little bit of that. But I do like to compete some and throw it down and kick it around every now and then, and just remind myself that I can still do a few things, you know, and not everything you used to be able to do, but you can still do a few things, right? I like to sweat out my stress. You know, that's always a good thing. I love to eat. I love to eat. And did I fail to mention that I love to eat? I love good food, and my wife has done a great job of cooking great food over the years, and my mom was an incredible cook. I think there was more chickens that died for the cause of Jesus in the Nelson family than you probably could count or I could count. And my mom, I don't think it was an addiction, but she felt like food could solve any problem, anything. And so if you're stressed, you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, stressed, depressed, barbecue chicken will fix it. Have a seat at the table, kid. And so we loved it. But she just loved to watch us eat and watch her grandkids eat. It just brought her so much joy. And so, I love to eat, and certainly exercise and things, staying on the move can help balance some of that. It brings a lot of focus to life as well. When you kind of got a goal and you're orienting your life toward a goal, it's kind of interesting to see how that works out. But why 50 miles? Can't we learn some of these things that our mothers taught us already an easier way? And probably there's a lot of experiences that you've had that you reflect back on what your mother taught you, and it was powerful, and those are powerful lessons, and you've learned them in different ways, and that's awesome. But it seems like that running an ultra is like life in a day. On slide number 4, there's a documentary I watched once, not too long ago, but it seemed like it captures really why would I even think about taking this kind of a challenge on. And it's a quotation from a lady who ran a lot of ultra races and won a lot of them. Her name was Ann Trayson. And she won Western States like 13 or 14 times, I think. It's the Boston Marathon of trail running. And she's won that race many times, many years ago. And in this documentary that I watched, she said that running an ultra is like experiencing a whole life in a single day. In running ultras, we experience the highs and lows of a whole life in one single day. And so ultras and life are metaphors for each other. And when the race starts, everyone is energetic, you're clean, you have so much promise in front of you, you're geared up, there's no winners or losers. Everybody's just a participant with the great unknown in front of them. And so it's exciting, but then the journey begins. And you find your pace, and you meet people, and you share the course with other people from other states and even other countries in some cases. Sometimes the course is level and smooth. Sometimes it's uphill and muddy. Sometimes you're alone for long stretches at a time. And sometimes you get hungry and you need aid stations to survive. You get fatigued and you need pacers to stay with you in some of the longer ultras that they do, 100 miles or more. Sometimes your stomach won't tolerate food and your legs ache for rest. And when it's cold and it's wet and it's dark and it's lonely and it's miserable and there's no finish line in sight and the next aid station seems like it's miles away, only probably it's 3 or 4 miles, but it seems like it's miles away, and you're tempted to quit. And why am I doing this to myself? And why in the world, put yourself through this kind of an experience? And you think about that. And then you realize that when you're tempted to quit, there's an unseen presence that is able to slip in beside your life. And it takes you to a dimension that you didn't know you could go to when you experience the presence of Christ in those low moments of life. And I really think that that's probably one of the biggest reasons why, out of all the other things I could say, one of the biggest reasons why is that it helps me to experience life in a day. And if that's the case, then if you're fortunate enough to live 50 years, every mile is 1 year. If you're fortunate enough to live 100 years, every mile is equivalent to 1 year. And so you're getting into this thing, and as this thing progresses, you realize that the finish line is so far out there in front of you that it's like, well, how in the world am I ever going to make it? And so you learn to reset your goals, and instead of a finish line miles away, it's getting to the next tree 20 yards up the hill. If I can just make it to that, I can make it. And so you recalibrate things, and you have small victories that lead you to bigger victories, and eventually the finish line is just up over the hill. And just roll slide number 1, or video number 1 for me. You come down the hill at Sand Lake, and you're over the final timing strips, and there's a few familiar faces that you'll see. And really what you want to do more than anything else is you want to hug people. And not only do you want to hug people, but when you hug them, I think it's actually, when you hug them, you don't want to let go. And I don't know, this may be maybe there's another video too, I think. Maybe roll the other one too, guys. You hug them and you don't want to let go because they're holding you up. You need them because you've kind of lost your legs, right? And so you come down that hill and you see some familiar faces and you hug people, and after miles of the trail, you've been plagued with self-doubt. You've been through weather and different trail conditions maybe you weren't expecting. You got body parts pleading for relief. And you want to hang on to that hug and not let go. And you ask yourself the question, why in the world do I do this? And like I said, probably the best reason why is that it's God's way of letting me experience what Ann Trayson referenced and what I've thought about many times since. It's letting God, it's allowing God to help teach you what life is going to be like in a single day. Whether it's 50 miles or 100 miles. And then God meets me in that, and He says to me, Nelson, don't you forget it. There's another finish line you're working on. And just like this one, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs. Some of you moms are going to have some ups and downs. You're going to have some lonely moments where you're wondering if it's really worth it. And you're going to have times when you have people to journey with, and there's going to be other times it's going to be in the dark and nobody around, and you're not sure how you're going to make it to the next step, to the next experience. There's going to be times when you need aid stations and they're going to be so far away. So many different things you're going to experience in the ultra of life. But it's in that experience that you set yourself up for that moment when the presence of someone from another place, another time, another dimension, and come into your life and say, you know what? I'm with you. I'm with you. And I'll see you through this. As I was thinking about this, on slide number 2, if you would, the proverb writer said, my son, keep your father's command and do not forsake your mother's teaching. In other words, it takes a parental team to raise a family. And it takes both of them growing spiritually and investing in their children. And neither was waiting on the other to do it. They just both engaged. And so the fear of the Lord shows itself in the way we parent. And there's fathers and there's mothers, and there's a command to the mother, there's a teaching of the father. And the proverb writer, the sage of wisdom, says, bind them always on your heart. Bind what on your heart? Your mother's teaching. So it's imperative that we know what our mother's teaching is. Fasten them around your neck. They're vital to your survival. And when you fasten something around your neck, it depicts how that it's keeping it near to your heart and close to your thoughts always, and you never get away from it. And so the sage and proverb writer is hoping that, like a piece of jewelry, you will wear the teaching and the commandments of your dad, the teachings of your mother, what she taught you. You will bear them close to your heart, and you'll think of them often. And I would just ask the question this morning, what is our life teaching? What do our attitudes, our words, and our responses teach? If we're a mom, what are our kids picking up? If you're a dad, what are people picking up around us that we live for? Verse 22, if we fasten those teachings around our neck, and their teachings fleshed out in the fear of God, then when you walk, they will guide you. as you perform your daily task. When you sleep at night, when some attack comes under the cover of darkness and threatens to ambush your life and threaten your identity, your mother's teachings will watch over you, the proverb writer says. And when you awake, your mother's wisdom will talk to you, and she will help you make sense of what you just went through in your night seasons, and they will speak to you, the proverb writer says. And so the teachings of your mother, they will guide, they will guard, and they will goad all of us in different seasons and different ways in our life. So what is your mother's teaching? What did 50 miles teach me that my mom already taught me? Well, I've got an acrostic to help us with this. Slide number 5. Firm dirt is the acronym, okay? If you ever ran in mud, you know it's horrible to run in mud. It's squishy. You can't, I don't care what kind of lug tread you got on your trail runner, it's not going to grip very well in the mud. And some of that stuff at Chain of Lakes is almost clay-like when it gets mixed up with a little water. And so wet feet creates hot spots on your feet, and that's kind of miserable. And so you like to run on firm dirt, all right? And so as I think about these lessons that my mother taught me, lessons that 50 miles taught me that my mother already taught me, as I think about that, if I had a necklace with firm dirt imprinted somehow on it, that would be a little memorization or mnemonic device to help me remember what I'm going to tell you this morning. And what I'm going to share with you, slide number 6, the F is focus. Focus. Focus and live in the moment. You know, my mom could be opinionated sometimes. Anybody else's mom opinionated? Okay. Somebody shot their hand way up. Okay. Bear with me. The rest of you are in denial, all right? Yeah, your mom's opinionated. Sure. Every mom is. And we're going to learn from her opinions. And be they good or bad. And, you know, my mom was opinionated. But the thing is, I don't remember a negative mindset. I never remember that from my mom. She believed that life had a simple purpose and that there was a joy in it, and that it's important for us to focus our mindset, because you will not survive the ultras of life unless your mindset is right. It is a mental struggle out there, and you have to be focused at all times. In fact, they have a little thing that they do if you're running with someone and they say, hey, I got to hit the bathroom, you go ahead. That's runner code for your mindset dragging me down. You got to get out of here, because if I keep listening to you, I'm not going to make it. Okay? And so they ditch you and they let you go because they can't deal with it when you're under that kind of stress in the body and the mind and the spirit. And so it's important because there's a lot of things, a lot of reasons that you can have a negative mindset. It's too cold, it's too hot, it's too far, it's too hard. And you start listening to that self-talk, and it'll drive you right into the ground, and it'll just be so hard to take the next step. Well, I think my mom had that figured out, that you got to focus your mindset, because all the negative things are going to weigh you down, and she was always preoccupied with that. You have focus. You have to have a goal in mind, and you set yourself to that goal, and you're not going to let anything come in to mentally block that goal. You have to have focus. Just days before I ran this thing, there was someone that posted this, and there was an elite runner. Her name is Kara Goucher, and she said that there's a letter that she wrote, and she said it's to be opened on race day. Well, I looked at it before race day. She's written this and shared it with other people. And this is what she says, and I found great encouragement in it. She says, well, here we stand on the starting line nonetheless. Maybe you're facing your first 5K. Maybe it's a 10, maybe a half, or a marathon, or an ultra. Maybe you're even running Boston, she says. Waiting on that starting line, you're beginning to feel it. The anticipation, the doubt, the excitement, the energy, the definitiveness of what is behind, the uncertainty of what's ahead. It hasn't been easy. There have been workouts that tanked, weeks with missed mileage, tired legs, hard sessions, the daily dance of life versus the plan. But there have been great moments too. The decision to race, the dedication to train, miles where you felt like you could run forever. Even the bravery of this morning where you put on your singlet, you fought the crowds, and you met your fate at the starting line. And now it's here, she says. It is time. No more countdowns, no more workouts to nail, no more wondering. Am I fit enough, strong enough, prepared for what's ahead enough? This is what you've been waiting for, no doubt. You are nervous, but know that you are ready. You earned this opportunity and you were born to fly, she says. So take a deep breath, look around you, soak it all in, relish where you are, realize how far you've come. You are ready, you're powerful, and you belong. Now go get it. Head up, wings out. It's time to go. I get chills when I think about that. It's crazy. And as I think about that, and I think about the awesome task of mothering, it's like an ultra marathon, isn't it? And there's some days, you moms, in fact, like every day, you could probably get up and read that letter and derive some encouragement from it because the days are long sometimes. And it's difficult, like I've shared with you. But it's in those moments that your definition of who you are and who you're going to be and what your family is going to be is hammered out on the anvil of real life. I'm probably going to end up coming back to some of these, and so I might just wrap it right here. I know you've got some things you've got planned with your family and things, but I want to share this with you, at least this one point here with you, this focus point. Some days, I read something recently, and there's the what question and the why question. Okay? The author said to have an ultra mindset, have that focus, you got to ask yourself two questions. You got to know when to ask those two questions. This is something good not only for mothers but for all of us this morning. You got to ask what when the task to accomplish is technical. Okay? You have to ask what when the task is technical. If you're running a race and you're in a technical track, single track, it's technical, you got roots and rocks, you better pay attention and pay attention to what you're doing. If you're working in the garage and you got a skill saw and you're making a really tight cut and you've got hands and arms and everything here and there, you better pay attention to what you're doing. What? The what question. What am I doing? Okay? We got to ask the what question, especially when life gets technical. And sometimes as moms and as parents, we got to ask the what question. Am I parenting right? I got so much at stake, and we got to ask that what question. Am I doing things right? And then there's another question you got to ask, and it's the why question. When life gets boring and it's monotonous and repetitious, you got to ask, why am I doing this? Why am I doing it? What's your why? And so you got to ask the what, so you get some know-how, and you have to ask why. Why do I parent the way I do? Why do I try to tend a diaper and change it before they're red on their bottom? All right? Why do I invest in all this reading time with my kids? Why do I try to engage them and track with them in their life and sense what needs to be discussed and take them there in those conversations? When life gets monotonous and boring, you got to ask the why question. And you know why you're doing it? Because you want that little boy, that little girl to be raised with a sense of identity and who they are, how much they're loved. You want them to honor God with their life. You want them to make good choices. You want them to make good choices in school and the responsibilities. You want them to make good choices in who they're going to date and who they're going to marry. You want them to make good choices and have that life focus from an early age. That's why you're doing it. It's not just what, mothering or whatever. It's why. Why are you doing this? Why do you give yourself to this? What is the bigger picture? What's your bigger why? And so this morning, I just want to encourage all of you to see that bigger, to maintain that bigger focus, and to understand that God made you to be a mom. He made you to belong. He made you powerful in that sense. He equipped you with what you needed. He's got you ready. And the questions of, am I good enough? Am I strong enough? Am I prepared enough? Is beside the point. He's got you right where He wants you this morning. It's time for you to get your head up, your wings out. Let's go. Let's get this done. It starts with focus. We've got a couple of special things coming up in the next couple of weeks. And so I'll take a break from this, but then I'll come back to this. Once we get through a couple of weeks, I'll come back and I'll complete it. If you want to know what 50 miles taught me, my mother already taught me, you got to come back in a couple of weeks. Will you pray with me? Father, thank you so much for this morning. Thank you for your love and your grace. And thank you for speaking into our lives in so many different creative ways that you've done. And we ask and pray here this morning that you would be with us as we try to regain our focus and equilibrium. We know that's challenging. We face a lot of challenges this morning. A lot of challenges, and we need your help and your strength. And I just pray for every mom here, younger or older, with many kids or just one, with kids alive or no longer with us. I just pray for your overarching hand over their life. I pray that no matter what they've been through, you would help them regain their focus with an ultra runner's resolve to parent the way you want us to parent. You give us insight and to know the what. Help us to be attentive and to learn all that we can about this thing called parenting and mothering. But at the same time, help us not to miss the why. We want to raise kids that love you. We want to raise kids that honor you. We want to raise kids that are well adjusted. We want to raise kids with a healthy worldview where they can make decisions in life in light of what Christ has said about those. We want to raise kids who do right things with money. We want to raise kids who are able to navigate the complexity of human relationships. This is the why. This is why we're even here this morning. And we ask and pray now that this all would honor you. In Jesus' name. Amen. Hey, I was going to share something with you. I've been gone, like I said last week, I was gone for a week before that, before this past week. And one of the things I brought back with me was a neat little mask. Okay, and I want to share it with you this morning. This is my mask. This is okay? So, when parenting gets difficult and you're not sure how to handle what that little 5-year-old just said or that 13-year-old just said, just put your mask on. Super Mom has arrived. And she's going to take care of it, okay? Keep your sense of humor. It'll get better. Stand with me. Greet your neighbor. Have a great Mother's Day. We'll see you next week.